Thank you, Milton. Thank you, panelist team, and welcome everyone. We appreciate your time this evening. We're going to talk about Retirement Planning 101. We're going to learn some really amazing things this evening about retirement, being prepared, getting prepared, lots of information, lots of resources that we're going to give you. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So we always want to preface this type of webinar with we are not tax advisors. So for tax advice, please talk to your tax advisor, or we can certainly refer you over to Michael Shimmer over at Fellows. So let's dive right in. So where to start? Let's start by asking ourselves the following questions. Where will I live? What will I do? How much money will I need? How much money do I have? What are likely health-related issues? If you plan to retire and you've not asked yourself these questions, this is a really good place to start. So I'm sure you've already thought of others that are not, maybe more specific to you. It's really a great idea to start a file, start a Word document, start an Excel sheet as an organizer for retirement to keep these questions, your answers, and other information as you collect in it, because things may change. So we're going to talk about what is a budget, what does it do? It's basically, a spending plan. It takes into account all of the income you expect to receive, and it allocates that income to specific expenses you expect to have in the coming months. So a spending plan, it shows us where our income goes. It actually identifies the specific expenses that we'll have. Sorry, excuse me, just a second. And how much we'll need to be able to meet those expenses. So if you don't have a plan, you really don't know. You have nowhere to start. You have nothing to gauge. So these kind of spending plans also help set limits on some financial items. So let's say when you're finished with your budget, you find that over the last few months, you've spent several $100s taking the family out to the movies. Without a budget, you probably wouldn't have even noticed that or have an idea of how much you were spending on the movies. But if you have that budget, you might see that you could stream the movie. You could, if anybody still rents DVDs, 6 times a month to considerably less outlay of your cash, and actually end up seeing more movies by watching them at home. So things like that, if you can't see it, you're probably not going to be able to identify it. So lastly, the spending plan can help us achieve financial goals, and that's by controlling our expenses. This can potentially result in our retirement savings lasting longer, which is what we need it to do, and help us work toward that financial security. So, it's really hard to argue against the value of having a budget. It really is. But what are the specific reasons? Why should we have a budget? And you can see in front of you. We're going to take a look at some of the specific advantages of a retirement budget. It really, really is empowering. It can empower you to take control of your finances. You'll have the tools, the information to decide exactly when and where your retirement money is going to go. Instead of having your money limit what you do, you're going to be in charge of your money. At its most basic, a spending plan divides income and expenses into useful categories. But in addition, the plan also provides further organization by automatically keeping a record of all of your financial transactions. So it kind of sets the stage. It's a useful, simple filing system to organize your bills, your receipts, and your bank statements. And knowing exactly where you stand financially and being in control of that money might actually allow you to take advantage of opportunities that might come up, which you'd otherwise miss. So if you really take the time to have a spending plan. You'll never need to worry if you could afford something. You're going to actually know that you can. So whether your spending plan is operating, all of your financial transactions, the nice thing about it is they will automatically be organized at income tax time. Does anybody run around like a chicken with their head cut off looking for everything that you need for taxes? My husband, actually, he drives me crazy this time of year because he's waiting for me to hand him everything because he does ours. And the good thing is I do keep it all organized and I can go get him anything he needs at any time. So think of the time that you could save. I know it saves us a lot of time and it probably saves us a lot of arguments. So that's more time that you can, devote to other things like hobbies. But most of all, the top reason for having a budget or a spending plan is that it will certainly produce extra money. I guarantee this. Unnecessary expenses, once you have actually identified them, can be eliminated. Savings, even small ones, accumulate. I have always said little by little, little becomes a lot, and that can go both ways. So with a spending plan, you can put those savings to work for you so that you can do all those things that come up that you want to do. And, it's very important once you've retired. It's no secret that in order to actually have a budget, you need to really be very specific about your income expenses. So let's identify key types. So categories of expenses. You're also going to need to look carefully at your expenses. Unfortunately, there are usually many more categories of expenses than there are for income. I mean, it's just the way it goes. And to make it easier to think about all of your expenses, you're going to want to break them down into those that are fixed and expenses that are variable. So fixed expenses are those that you don't change over time, like your mortgage, or if you rent, auto loans, life and auto insurance, student loan payments, credit cards, and variable expenses are those that, can typically change from month to month, like food, medical expenses, auto repairs, phone bills, utilities like electricity, gas. So let's look a little more closely at the fixed expenses you need to include in your budget spending plan. So when you're working on your list of fixed expenses, you're going to think about things like property taxes, quarterly estimated income tax payments, your mortgage. You're going to want to include escrow amounts for insurance and taxes, or like we said earlier, if you rent, your rent. The amounts you pay for water, electricity, gas, cable, all those great things that we have to pay for. Insurance might include things like life insurance, homeowners insurance, car insurance, and make sure that you include any monthly car loan or lease payments that you have. And you'll likely have many more variable expense categories than the fixed ones. There are the expenses that can vary widely from month to month. Like consider you'll be spending for, food, for groceries, and everybody knows how food has really gone up. It's hard to get out of the grocery store, under a couple $100. Clothing for your family, and if you go out to eat as well. Clothing for you and your family, furniture, appliances. What about repairs? We recently our refrigerator here at our house, the door wouldn't shut. So it was constantly beep, 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 beep. And it was driving me crazy. And so we had to call a repair company. They came out, and just for them to ring my doorbell was $125. $125 just to ring the doorbell. So, you have to really consider all of these things: gas, oil, other maintenance items for your car. Of course, entertainment. You don't want to just sit at home and do nothing. Movies, sports events, concerts, day trips. Don't forget other variable expenses like co-payments to the doctor. You got to think about prescriptions, birthday and wedding gifts, vacation plans. Everybody deserves a vacation. Personal items such as haircuts, magazines, you might still get newspaper subscriptions. What about walking around money? I mean, my husband always thinks he's got to have some cash in his wallet. And don't forget, the occasional Mrs. Fields giant chocolate chip cookie at the mall, because you all on this call know that I love to shop. So again, try to put every single category. Don't leave anything out, or expense you can think of on your the draft of your spending plan. So next comes, categories of income. Stop and think of all the sources of income you will have during retirement. You might have some earnings from, you might get a part-time job or start your own business. You might have annual distributions from an IRA. Maybe you have pension income from a previous job or military service. Thank you to any military personnel that are on this call. We appreciate your service. And of course, at some point, you'll have to begin taking withdrawals from your 401k account. So don't forget also interest on your savings account. Any income from your money market funds, and you may also be receiving dividends from stock that you own or from other mutual fund investments. And you need to take into account your expected Social Security benefits. Taking a look at last year's federal income tax should actually help you. So quickly identify your current sources of income. It's very important. Now, the moment of truth. You certainly are going to hope that you get to the bottom line. Your income, when you get to the bottom line, that your income is more than the total of your expenses. So that's the ideal result that we all want to get to. It means that you're probably going to be able to live within your retirement income. But more importantly, it indicates that you probably have opportunities to put that excess to work for you. We always want to make the most of what we have, such as, increasing your savings account. But it's also entirely possible that your expenses might be greater than your income. If that's your result, you're going to have to look harder at places to cut, examine ways to increase your income, maybe that part-time job, maybe that starting that business you've always wanted to start, or, maybe even consider, I hate to say this, working longer and postponing retirement. But regardless of the bottom line, you guys, you reach when you do your initial draft budget, you'll have a much better handle on the financial situation you're facing during retirement. If you don't do that, that budget, that financial plan, you are not going to know, and things could down spiral pretty quickly. You're going to want to be armed with detailed information to use in adjusting your income and your expense projections. So assets, you're going to start with your net worth calculation by listing all of your assets. And keep in mind that you want to concentrate on assets. We're not talking about income. So cash in bank accounts, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and annuities and retirement plans, life insurance. You're going to look at the cash value, not the face value. Your home, your car, your boat, your RV, if you have one, household furnishings, jewelry, books, coins, art, anything that has value is going to be in your asset bucket. Remember that your assets are valued at their current market value, not what you paid for them or what you would hope they would sell for. So your liabilities, next you're going to list your liabilities. Liabilities, of course, are your financial obligations or debts that you owe to others, like mortgages, installment loans, credit card balances, unpaid taxes or bills, and other financial obligations. And remember that liabilities, of course, are different from expenses. They're often large amounts owed to others. Many are secured actually by an asset, like your house is the collateral for your mortgage and your car is the collateral for your auto loan. So net worth, how do we figure our net worth? So you're going to subtract your liabilities from your assets And that amount is your net worth. You're probably going to be pleasantly surprised and maybe even relieved once you actually do this. So net worth, why would you want to know your net worth? It can be helpful to have that information when dealing with lenders in a situation where, let's say, for example, your income isn't particularly high at this time, but you have significant assets to draw on if you needed to. Preparing your will can be simplified when you have done your homework on your net worth, since you'll know right away what your assets are and what their values are. This information will also help in planning ahead for estate taxes. So when you think about life insurance, you might conclude that only a moderate amount is needed, since your dependents have a significant financial cushion with all the assets that are available to them in your estate. So your net worth is an indicator of how you're doing in terms of working toward the financial goals you've set. And just to give you an example, you look at your IRA and your 401k plan balances, you would get a good idea of how you're doing as far as making sure that you won't outlive your assets. So let's talk about full retirement age. In this part, I just can't believe when I was preparing for this webinar, I did not realize, I learn every day as well. Even though I've been in this industry for 28 years, I still learn right along with each one of you. But I had no idea that they had raised the age so much. But you can begin receiving individual Social Security benefits anytime between the age of 62 and 70. So your benefit amount will differ, however, based on your full retirement age. And this is based on, of course, the year of your birth. So for an example, you'll see from this chart that a person born in, let's say 1948, has a full retirement age of 66. This means that he or she will receive 100% of his or her benefit based on credited earnings and Social Security tax paid at age 66. For someone born in 1960 or later, the age for full benefits is 67. 67. So let's see how starting to receive benefits early affects the amount, and it absolutely really does affect the amounts. So starting your benefits early means any time between age 62 and your full retirement age. So the early retirement reduction at age 62 ranges from 20% to 30% and is based on your birth year. I'm going to say that again. The early retirement reduction at age 62 ranges from 20% to 30% and is based on your birth year. So let me just give you an example. Let's say that you were born in 1950. You qualify for a monthly benefit of $1,000 at age 66, your full retirement age, and chose you're going to receive benefits at age 62. You're only going to receive $750 due to a 25% reduction. Isn't that just mind-blowing? In this example, if you waited until age 63, your monthly benefit would be reduced by only 20%. So if you worked longer, at age 64, the reduction factor drops to 13.33%, and at age 65, it's only 6.67. So the longer you work, the more you're going to get. And if you retire before that age, it's definitely going to drop. So for those who need the income right away, taking benefits early would be appealing, but the benefits are permanently reduced. So you really have to think about that. Hopefully no one on this call is going to rely solely on their Social Security benefits. So the benefit increase factors, if you wait until after your full retirement age to start receiving Social Security payments, your benefit amount will be increased. For someone born in 1943 or later, his or her benefit is increased by 6% for each full year benefits are delayed. After reaching full retirement age, so the longer you wait, the higher your benefit. And some people, they want to work. They want to continue working. I know someone who retired and she's 73 years old. And she just retired, my best friend's mother. Some people just don't want to stop. And remember that if you work past your full retirement age, more earnings are added to your Social Security record. So as a result, if your lifetime Social Security earnings are higher, your benefit actually may be higher in addition to the delay factor. So will your benefits be subject to federal income tax? Let's see. Yes, your Social Security benefit will be subject to federal income tax if your combined income is above certain limits. So you can see the chart in front of you. Combined income is defined by Social Security rules as your adjusted gross income plus non-taxable interest plus 1/2 of your Social Security benefits. So you can see, for example, that a single person with combined income of $30,000 would have 50% of his or her benefits taxed. And a couple filing jointly that had a combined income of $40,000, they would also have 50% of their benefits taxed. Keep in mind that total income means money from all sources, employment, dividends, capital gains, and so on. We talked about that earlier. And then earning limits, annual for 2023. You can see, for 2024, annual earning limits is 22,320. So obviously the earnings limit is a key factor to consider between age 62 and your full retirement age. The good news is that your earnings limit no longer applies at full retirement age. So there's a lot to think about regarding Social Security benefits. We just went through that completely. And I'm sure that you agree that this topic needs to be near the top of your list of those to learn more about as you prepare to retire. And there's very helpful information as well as an easy to use calculator to estimate your benefits at the Social Security Administration's website. I think it's www.saa.gov. Please go there, make sure that you're saving and doing what you need to be financially well during retirement. So when you are ready to apply for Social Security benefits, you should make sure you have the following items. However, do not delay filing your claim just because you do not have all the documents. The Social Security Administration can still help you. Also, you should visit the website I just gave you, the SSA website, to view a comprehensive list of questions they may ask you, such as, what was your name at birth? Have you used any other Social Security number? And just keep in mind, you should apply for benefits about 4 months prior to actually wanting them to begin. So how much will you need? This is the million-dollar question. Most financial experts suggest that you will need 75 to 90% of your current annual income to live comfortably in retirement. Now, how much will Social Security contribute? For the average person, Social Security may replace 30% to 40% of the wages that a working person earned before retirement. So be sure to visit that Social Security website at www.ssa.gov. Be sure to visit where you'll find the actual interactive retirement calculations, and they're going to give you a rough estimate of what you can expect in Social Security benefits. So that's going to be very beneficial to you. So of the various sources of income, Social Security is approximately 37% of income on average. So you'll need to calculate how much more you're going to need to live comfortably in retirement. And once you determine how much Social Security you can expect to receive, then you'll be able to plan accordingly. So let's talk about life expectancy. Americans are living longer, healthier lives. You need to plan on spending at least, I hope so, at least 15 to 20 years in retirement. Remember, there's a strong possibility that you may spend upwards of 25 years in retirement. That's a lot of retirement years, which is really, really good. That's what our goal should be. What about medical expenses? You're also going to want to plan for medical expenses. You know, medical cost inflation can quickly erode retirement savings. And we all know that. So, you know, a 65-year-old American couple will need $315,000 to pay for medical expenses throughout retirement, not including nursing home care. That's very scary. That's a lot of money. So hopefully, you know, if you're on this call and you're close to retirement, you have prepared for all this. If you're not even close to retirement, these are just really valuable resources for you to get that ball rolling so that you can retire financially well. So healthcare coverage, Medicare eligibility generally begins on the first day of the month that you reach age 65. If you're receiving Social Security benefits before the age of 65, you should automatically receive a Medicare identification card in the mail shortly before your 65th birthday. If you're not collecting benefits before age 65, you're going to need to enroll for Medicare about 3 months before you turn 65. Just because you're eligible for Medicare doesn't mean you should enroll and pay the premiums right away. So if you're still working and your employer's plan offers adequate coverage, you can save money by not enrolling until you actually retire. So an extremely important point about Medicare is that you must really pay close attention to application deadlines and rules related to applying for benefits. If you enroll late or drop out and enroll again later, you may pay higher premiums for the same benefit. So let's take a look at what makes up Medicare coverage. So Part A helps cover inpatient care in hospitals, inpatient rehab facilities, inpatient stays in a skilled nursing facility. It also covers hospice care and some home health care services. You get to choose the hospitals and the facilities that you want to use. So Plan B helps cover medically necessary services from physicians, outpatient care, and some preventative services. As in Part A, you're still able to select your doctors and other providers. Medicare Part C is the Advantage plans. It involves private insurance companies, HMOs, PPOs that provide the hospital and medical insurance under Parts A and B. And in most of these plans, you need to use the plan's doctors, their hospitals, and other providers, or you will pay more. So Part D is the prescription drug coverage. If you want this coverage, you're going to choose to join a Medicare prescription drug plan from private companies approved by Medicare. They have to be approved by Medicare. Most Medicare Advantage plans include some prescription drug coverage. You might also want to consider what's known as Medigap policy, which covers amounts that Medicare does not pay. So these policies are offered by private insurers, not affiliated with Medicare, and costs vary by the level of coverage that you choose. So healthcare coverage, Medicare premiums for 2024. Part A, it's usually 0. Part B, you can see around $174.70. Part C varies by plan, and Part D varies by plan. Healthcare coverage. So I just talked a little bit about a Medigap policy. It's a health insurance sold by private insurance companies to fill in the gaps in original Medicare plan coverage. So Medigap policies help pay some of the healthcare costs that the original Medicare plan doesn't cover. If you are in the original Medicare plan and have a Medigap policy, then Medicare and your Medigap policy will pay both their shares of covered health care costs. So insurance companies can only sell you a standardized Medigap policy. These Medigap policies must all have very specific benefits so that you can compare them easily. So let's talk about long-term care insurance. The average cost of nursing home care nationally is $97,747 to $111,657. The cost of care, of course, varies from state to state. And you can always go to seniorliving.org to look at those long-term costs. Long-term care insurance. Why should you plan? Because most people over age 65 are going to require some long-term care services at some point in their lives. And contrary to what people may believe, Medicare and private health insurance programs do not pay for the majority of long-term care services that most people need. Like help with personal care, such as getting dressed or using the bathroom independently. So planning is really essential for you to be able to get the care that you might actually need. So you can also, another resource is Medicare and You National Medicare Handbook at medicare.gov. Are you ready? So the worksheets, these worksheets include a format for you to be able to record. We talked about recording your assets and their value today, project their value 10 years from now, and how those assets might grow between now and when you begin retirement. So another one enables you to see how your assets might provide income over a 30-year retirement. These are such critical things for you to do to be ready, to be prepared. There are also several worksheets to help you identify and estimate your monthly expenses today and 10 years from now. So there's also one that provides a comparison of income and expenses, which of course is absolutely critically important and necessary. Another worksheet outlines where you might need to accumulate additional savings before retirement in order to enhance the chances that your retirement nest egg will last as long as possible. Now let's take a look at examples of these worksheets to show how you can help prepare and get organized for your retirement. So we're just going to show you retirement. Sorry, hang on just a second. So you see worksheet A in front of you. So worksheet A is today's money. As you can see, you're going to record amounts for yourself and for your spouse, columns 1 and 2. You're going to add up the money across each row for you and your spouse and write the total in column 3. Then add all the numbers. Then add all the numbers down column 3 and write the total in column 3 at the bottom. So very self-explanatory. This is going to help you tremendously if you take the time to do it. So worksheet B, you can see in front of you, your money 10 years from now. This is your asset growth factor. You're going to want to just follow that formula there and do your retirement savings, your net home equity, market value, personal savings and investments, other assets. Very, very important to do that worksheet B. Worksheet C, new savings between now and retirement. So this is the one, your savings growth factor. Retirement savings, your net home equity, the market value, personal savings and investments, other assets. Again, you're going to want to follow those formulas. Worksheet D is monthly income over a 30-year retirement. Again, you're going to fill in those columns, those rows, and figure out your total assets. Worksheet E is monthly expenses today. So critical. If you've never done this, you really need to take the time. It's not going to take you long to sit down and write out your monthly expenses today. It's actually 2 pages. It will not take long at all. You probably already know everything that you would need to put in there. And then worksheet F are going to be your monthly expenses in 10 years from now. And then it's also continued. And then worksheet G, comparing projected income and expenses. Another great resource for you to prepare and be ready. Worksheet H, that's additional savings needed before retirement in 10 years. I mean, I think every single one of us on this call probably are going to need additional savings, especially after seeing the Social Security benefit and how it impacts us at different ages in life. And so there's worksheet H. So we always try to give you useful resources. There's lots of resources for you on this page here. Again, you're going to have this PowerPoint at your fingertips to go back through. You're going to have those forms. You're going to have these resources. So let's all prepare and be ready to be financially well in retirement. And thank you guys so much. It has been a pleasure.
All right, Kim, thank you so much for that presentation. I think you covered so much. I have seen, I was looking, trying to keep track with the chat. There's been a lot of great questions being submitted, and also I see there's a couple on the Q&A as well too. But outstanding, lots of information. Thank you so much, Kim. So as always, Eddie and Andrea, we'll pass it on to you and see what are some of the questions. And as I stated at the beginning, we do have our IRA expert, our senior IRA expert here with us, Mary Nelson, who might be able to answer some questions, especially when it comes to, for those individuals that have IRAs. That you might want to see what and how that will help you in terms of planning, once you start thinking about the big decision as to whether or not are you ready to retire now. So Eddie and Andrea, we'll pass it back to you.
Hi. So the first question is, can you retire and not get your Social Security until you want to get it?
Absolutely. I think this will be I'll take this one, guys, if you guys don't mind. I think the other ones might be a little bit more complicated. But to answer this, I think for me, this is the one question, and the reason why I know, and I'm very familiar with it, is because I have my dad, who is he is 59, and he is already thinking about retiring, but he doesn't want to take a hit when it comes to being penalized and not waiting enough for Social Security. And so the answer to your question is yes, you can retire and not notify Social Security, so that you can use your 401ks if you have any IRAs, if you have any other investments accounts that you have saved for retirement, you can use all those funds. And then once you decide how long you want to wait, whether you want to wait for the 62 or you want to wait for full age, which is 67, depending on the when you were born, as Kim alluded to in the presentation, there's different guidelines in terms of the age. But to answer your questions, that answer is yes, you can definitely retire and not notify Social Security. They're not connected, so you will be fine. So you can wait as long as you want, and continue to enjoy retirement, using the other resources that you have set aside that will help you navigate and enjoy retirement. So I hope that answered that question.
Thank you so much. The next question is, in general, what's the break-even age for collecting Social Security at 62 as opposed to waiting until full retirement age 67 or maxing out the benefit age at 70 or 70?
Okay, can you repeat that? Sorry. I'm looking at the full age retirement. And yeah.
So it says
what age?
It says, what's the break-even age for collecting Social Security at 62 as opposed to waiting until full retirement age 67 or maxing out the benefit at age 70?
So you're gonna go by the full retirement age formula by your birth year. You're gonna look at your full retirement age. If you retire early, you're gonna sacrifice 30 to 50% of your Social Security benefit. If you retire at the age it says you can retire, you will get 100% of your Social Security benefit. And if you wait until later, you could actually earn more. I think it was maybe 6%. I hope that answers your question.
And in case, you know, you have any specific IRA questions, I know that Kim is certified in IRAs, and also Mary Nelson is certified in our IRA. So take advantage, you know, you can ask your questions now, and you can ask those specific questions, you know, that, you know, especially if you get into retirement, if you have any doubts or, you know, any concerns, that's what we're here for, to help you out. Go ahead, Andrea.
Thank you, Eddie. Wait, I want to confirm that if you wait until full retirement age, there is no earnings limit, but your benefits will be taxed.
So can we go back to the slide that talks about, yeah, no, sorry. Keep going. So income tax on benefits. So there are limits as far as income goes. If you are still working, you have to pull in all the sources of income that you have. We talked about stocks, bonds, savings. So you can't go over that annual earnings limit. And yes, if you go over that earnings limit, it will be taxed.
Thank you so much, Kim. Another question is, what are the best ways to save for medical expenses? Cash and HA or SAs, yes, but how else?
So to be perfectly honest with you, if you have a savings that you are not using and let's just say after this webinar, you realize you need to start saving for medical expenses during retirement. Right now, CD rates are at an all-time high. You could lock in a CD at a high rate, continue to roll that CD over. Anybody else got any other recommendations on the panelist team?
What about well, I guess it's not saving, but long-term care insurance, I always hear Michael talking about.
Yes, and don't forget that we can refer you to fellows. You can have a free consultation with them. They really are the experts in this field. We're going to try to answer every question that we can. However, I still highly recommend, as a member of the credit union, take advantage of Michael and the staff there at Fellows. They will take the best care of you and really help you to come up with that plan that you need to retire financially well.
I would also add that saving for your retirement in an IRA and or a 401k is another way to save for medical expenses. There's provisions within plans. IRAs are a little bit more specific for catastrophic medical expenses and sometimes health insurance, where you can make withdrawals under certain circumstances. They're pretty specific, like I said, and you'd have to make sure with your tax advisor that you qualified, but there are times when that is a possibility that you can use retirement money for those purposes. So, for example, if you're eligible to pull money out of your IRA if you have unreimbursed medical expenses that are more than 7.5% of your adjusted gross income. I mean, that's a lot, and it's considered more catastrophic. But there are also times when you can possibly cover your health insurance with IRA money in certain circumstances when you're unemployed. So it's worth investigating that. 401ks and other types of retirement plans are usually pretty specific to the plan, and you'd need to check with your administrator, but there can be hardship medical reasons why you can access that money. So, continue to save for your retirement, and you might be able to access that at a time when, if it became necessary. It wouldn't be your first source, but it is another way to keep that in mind, to save for a medical expense that you might, not see coming.
Sorry.
Thank
you,
you
Mary.
so much, Mary. That was great information.
I see a
So-
few more questions.
Yeah, another question is with regarding to Medicare Part B coverage and IRMAA, does Medicare adjust to any IRMA surcharges on an annual basis?
I have to say, I do not know that answer. Does anybody on the panelist team know the answer to that question?
I do not know that
We
answer.
will certainly get it for you.
Yes, I was gonna say
Thank
we
you.
can reach out to Michael, send in
Yeah.
that particular question, and we'll try to get you an answer by tomorrow. So just shoot us an email, and we'll be more happy to send you that answer. As always, that is our commitment. So, but yeah, that's an excellent question that I'm actually curious myself.
Thank you.
I think there's a second part for the question, correct?
Is there?
Yeah.
Oh, does Social Security Administration's update Part B premiums annual basis on one's income?
That's another great question. I don't believe they do. However, we'll ask Michael at Fellows, and he is the expert. We'll get you that answer.
And we have another one. Is there benefit to Roth IRA conversions if approaching retirement within 5 years?
I think I can field that. Generally, Roth conversions, the earlier you can do them, the better. But there can be a benefit. It really is a personal circumstance, because if you're still working, you may have a higher income, and when you convert to a Roth, your traditional money to a Roth, you have to include that in your income and pay the tax on it in the year that you do the conversion. So it will add to your income, and it could possibly put you in a bracket that you don't want to be in, or taxed higher than you want to be. So it may not be an advantage depending on your circumstances. But the nice news is that you can do it gradually, so you can convert sections at a time through those years. That won't put you maybe in a bad position, but allow you to get that money to a point where it is not going to be taxed at age 73 or I shouldn't say taxed, but where you won't be forced to take required minimum distributions, which will be taxed at age 73 and beyond. So yes, I think in general, the concept of converting from traditional to Roth during that time is good. Just make sure that it makes sense for you each year and how much it's adding to that income that you're paying tax on.
Thank you so much, Mary. Another question is annuity better than an IRA?
I'm not sure anyone here can speak to that. I know very little about annuities, but there are IRA annuities as well. So the nice thing about that is that sometimes you can move funds between the annuity and your IRA if you need to, an IRA annuity, that is. but annuities can vary greatly from what I understand. And again, our rep at Fellows might be able to answer that question a little better.
Yeah, thanks, Mary. Yeah, I was gonna say that, as I'm sure everyone knows, annuities, it's an investment product, so we will, unfortunately, we're not licensed to, talk about investment products here in our end. But, as I stated at the beginning, and I'm thinking there was another similar question early on, we do have Michael from Fellows. We can, absolutely, most certainly, shoot him ask him that question and see, what his point of view is on that. I mean, I can tell you just because, again, as I stated, right? So annuities as investment, IRAs will, something that you can handle here with us, and any other financial institutions without going into the investment side. There might be a little bias when it comes to their answer. So again, I just wanted to make sure that I leave that clear out there. But it surely is a great question. So, but we'll get the answer for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, you
I
guys.
did put the link to the webpage to learn more about Fellow Services, how their relationship with us, and even from that website, you can click on Michael's calendar link and schedule a one-on-one virtual at no charge for however works for you. He does like Zoom, all the other ones, even just telephone. So you can pick your way when you schedule if you'd like to schedule.
And the best part that Kerry mentioned about Fellows is $3.99. That means that it's absolutely free. And that's going to be personal. It's going to be, a one-on-one session between Fellows and yourself. No information will be provided to the credit union unless we need to intervene and, let's say, open a retirement account or something like that for you. But other than that, everything is confidential. And Kerry, how much was it? $3.99. So it's absolutely free.
Okay, and next question is what is the federal tax rate on Social Security benefits? Maybe 6 or 7%? Question.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, we went over that on a slide.
And would you explain the Social Security maximum limit slide? Does that mean if I'm a high earner and could earn more than 22,200 plus or 1,000 plus for 2024, is that the max I could earn?
So you could receive Social Security benefits while you're working. There is, however, a limit to the amount you can earn before your benefit is reduced. And that's where that amount came in for 2024. So this limit applies only up to full retirement age when that limit goes away completely.
Eddie, do you see any questions that I might be missing?
I do see, I got an anonymous question on my end. The person didn't want me to reveal their identity. It might be related to that lady that we met yesterday, Milton, that they don't want to say their name for some reason, but what is the earliest that I can open an IRA? And is there a minimum balance to open an IRA?
Ooh, I think we might have an expert for that.
Okay.
We do.
Well, the earliest you can open an IRA it depends on your personal circumstances. Generally, specifically, you have to have earned income in order to open an IRA, which means you need to be working. So if you're not yet earning income, if you're too young to have a job, that's too young to have an IRA. And some states do have state laws regarding opening or entering into a contract at a certain age, sometimes 18 or 21, that might impact whether a financial institution where you are, is going to open that IRA for someone that young. But that's the only requirement for opening an IRA. Then the next decision is between traditional and Roth. And Roth does have some income limitations that are specific to how much you're earning as to whether you can contribute or not. A traditional IRA, you can always contribute to, but you may be able to take a tax deduction on that contribution depending on how much you're earning. And if you're earning above the amount to take a tax deduction, you can make a non-deductible contribution to a traditional IRA. And that still makes sense because IRAs earn interest tax deferred. And so until you're actually taking the money out of a traditional IRA, you're not taxed on it. So during the years that you're in the highest tax brackets, in theory, at least when you're working, that IRA is earning without you having to pay tax on those dividends. So I hope that answered the question in terms of when can you open an IRA.
That definitely answered the question. And I mean, Mary, as you know, we work together very close, and I'm always learning about IRAs. I mean, when you walk next to me, all I smell is IRAs, information coming through your, from you, because you have all this knowledge. So everybody that's, one of the attendees at the webinar, if you have any questions specific about IRAs, Mary Nelson is the person you want to talk to. She knows so much and she's so passionate about it. Sometimes people just do their job because they have to. Mary actually has a passion for IRAs. So any questions that you may have, she will be that person to answer. Carrie, I do have a question for you though. I do see it. Will the attendees get a copy of this presentation? Is that a yes or a no?
That's a yes. And did you put the link in the chat box? Or
I sure did, yes.
Perfect. And all of the links, they're clickable. So like some of the slides say source on it. And if that's clickable, it's a good federal resource where that information came from, so click on it to learn more kind of thing. And then we're starting to get the recordings out a lot faster. So look for that on our webpage too by Friday for sure.
We have one more question, I believe. As an example, for the earlier IRMMA, I can't talk, IRMAA question, suppose one is higher earner 2 years before retiring at age 65 and enrolling in Medicare, parts A and B subject to IRMAA. When that person retires at age 65 and his income drops precipitously, what part B premium be adjusted in later years? Well,
Yeah, I got it. I think I see it. So again, we will send that the specific questions to Michael, and then we'll get back to you on that, and should be able to get you an answer by tomorrow. That's our commitment, right, Katie?
That's right. That's right. We answer every question. We try to do it live, but if it's like something very complex like this one, and please always send us the pop quiz questions, because we always want to make sure we prepare. And like Milton was saying, our commitment is that we will answer every question that you have, specifically when it comes down to specific questions like this one, and not only you are learning, the one that's asking, but also we're learning as well in the process, so it's going to be great for us to find out the answer.
And absolutely. I know exactly who's asking the questions, and I'll make
one of ours.
Yes. A fellow Beatles fan, and I will make sure that those get answered, and then I won't just directly hook you up with Michael. I'll leave that to you, but I will ask him the questions and pass on the answers to you.
We have another question. It says somebody can't seem to copy the information on the chat. Is there a restriction?
I don't think so. I usually, I download it after in a text form, but so somebody who's not one of us, who's not a panelist, Donna, if you're still there, can you see if you can copy and paste? I don't think there's any problem with it. Can you?
I think as long as they're links, you should be able to click on them. And then if you're not able to do that, just let us know and we can see if we can send you the links directly to you, Miss, for whoever's having issues with that. But, somebody said that they can open the link. So, the person that can open the link, maybe try double clicking on it. Sometimes it might be, double click that you need to do. What could happen is that while you're in the presentation, it's opening a different web browser behind the scenes type of thing. So we hope that it just actually works for you.
Thank you, Eddie, and also I will like to invite everyone to our webinar next week as well too. It's as you, I think Eddie, you said it at the beginning. It's starting to feel like the spring is here, right? So the warmer temperatures are around the corner. I know a lot of people like to do work in their house. So we have a very exciting topic next week. Also, it's going to be our comprehensive guide to home improvement loans from the United States Senate Federal Credit Union. So if you're somebody that is probably considering doing some work on your house, and you don't want to dive into the savings that you have because you want to use the money for retirement, and perhaps you might want to take advantage of the equity that you have built in your house, then come in and join us next week. It's a comprehensive guide to all of our home improvement loans that we offer to all of our members here at the credit union. With that being said, if you don't have any more questions, I do want to take this time to thank Mary Nelson for coming in and joining us this evening. Mary, thank you as always. Your knowledge when it comes to IRA, it's truly as Eddie stated, inspiring, and we truly appreciate everything that you do for us here at the credit union. So thank you for making time and coming and joining our amazing panel. So thank you so much, Mary. Also Kim, as always, an amazing presentation. So and the rest of the team, they already know. So you guys rock. So with that being said, if we don't have any more questions, I don't want to leave before saying this. I think Mr. Mears made a comment there that might help us be enjoy retirement. Fully enjoy retirement. And I think his advice was to not get sick. So don't get sick. So if you don't get sick, then you better
Vitamin
believe that
C,
Yeah, so-
echinacea, take your vitamins.
you're going to enjoy retirement much better. So again, thank you all for making time, and we'll see you again next time next week at the same time at 6 p.m. And I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.